So what you think is the state of hip-hop, and where do you see yourself in that, you know?
Well, the state of hip-hop, I mean, hip-hop is a continuous thing, you know what I mean? Just keeps changing. When one thing gets tired and when everybody gets sick of hearing one sound, then somebody else is trying for somebody else to shine. You know what I mean? So hip-hop will always be here. Hip-hop is a way out the ghetto for all young black kids, you know what I mean? So they could reach back and grab someone younger than them. Then maybe they'll reach back and grab someone younger than them. You know what I mean? So hip-hop is like our savior. Hold up, and I see myself being a main part of that, because, you know, after these albums, I'm going to be sitting behind that desk, and I know how to, you know what I mean, I know what's going on. I'm not out of touch. You know what I mean? They got so many A&Rs in the business that's out of touch, don't really know what's going on in them streets. I lived it. Like, when I'm performing, it's a shared experience for me. It's like, these are people that come from the same place that I come from, and we're talking about Can I Live, and I'm singing that song, and people are looking at me like, I understand, I feel you. Do you understand how much you've affected my life? Or people that listen to my albums that get them through situations, you know, and even illegal activities, if we're being honest, you know. Chains is cool to cop, but more important is lawyer fees. That statement alone changed how people went about, you know, their movements.
Right.
I've heard this many times. This is not me just saying this. I've heard people come to me like, man, that line was so powerful for me. It made me put things in perspective. I had a 600 Benz that I was driving up to the projects in my mother's house, but I didn't have any lawyer money. And, you know, it made me prioritize
and think
differently.
differently.
You know, my life.
What are you doing to give back? I know you're very philanthropic. Obviously, I've talked to Gates about that. What are some of the ways that you're giving back?
Well, I started this Sean Carter scholarship program, you know, noticing how education was, you know, not being addressed in our neighborhood, and also as a way to show people in our neighborhood that, you know, you can be successful and come back, that person that used to live in 5C, 534 Flushing, is not a person in a box now. You know, not someone you just see at concert or see on TV. You know, most people that were successful growing up from where I was from never came back. So it was never a dialogue on how'd you do it, what happened. There was no mentoring program there. There was no going back and grabbing a person and teaching them, you know, a trade or, you know, what it is that you do, and then that person go back and grab two people, and then, you know, and it goes from there. So I figured I'd start with school because, you know, education, you know,
It's the answer.
it's the answer.
I got extensive hoes with expensive clothes, and I sip fine wines and spit vintage flows. I don't know.
What would the reasonable doubt Jay, if he was here, say about this Blueprint 3 Jay?
I mean, forget life, right? Let's talk about a career. To go from there to this album and still be putting out material that people care about and still putting out #1 records and #1 album. You know, I think he'll be proud of that approach because that Jay was still wise, right? That was always a wise Jay. If you listen to the music on there, Politics as Usual had a, dun, 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 like it's still musical. Like it's a very musical album when you look back.
Soulful.
It's soulful and it's musical. My first album. So it's only thing that's changed is the subject matter is a little broader because my experiences is a little broader. You know, that Jay was more refined still, but still rough around the edges. I still had like 1 foot in the street still, so I didn't have no knowledge of the music business. I think anyone at the forefront of music or anything should push. I mean, if you care about it, right? If you don't care about it, just take the money, keep it, and don't say anything to anybody, and just watch everybody just, you know, do whatever. But I think as a person in the forefront, you have the responsibility to leave it better than how you got it. That's just me pretty much, you know, getting guys to think about the things they do. You know, guys having YouTube beef, and like, it's like, what is that? It's ridiculous. Like, what is that? Who does that? Like, if anything happens, you're going to jail. So when you start seeing stuff like that, you can do two things. You can say, you know, let them guys just make mistakes and just kill each other. Or you could say, yo, don't do that, man. I just wanted to make a statement. I mean, that's why I made DOA. You know, I made it not as a diss record. I made it as a challenge to the music industry. Like, let's not get stuck on one thing. Let's
you know, rap music is about diversity. Like if, you know, you got on those Nikes, I'm gonna just rock, you know, Dunks. And if you, it's all about everyone contribution. You know, before you had Tribe, Ice Cube, Public Enemy. At the same time as Digital Underground, which just so many different, and I had every album. You know, it was all different types of sounds and approaches, but it was still great music. I'm not just, you know, auto-tune is bad. You know, there are songs that have auto-tune that I love, but when everyone jumps on this bandwagon and everyone tries to make the same exact record. I mean, I heard that record from T-Pain. I liked it. I don't want to hear it 100 times from 100 different artists. Like, I want to hear different stuff. Oh, I think absolutely, I believe people perceived it as a diss. It was meant to be challenging. It was meant to spark dialogue, you know, and I knew it. I mean, if you listen to the words, this ain't politically correct. I knew this might offend my political connects. I knew that people would be offended by the record, but it's tough love as well. It's all for the better, you know, of music. If people are challenged by that to make greater music, then my job is done. My job is not to make a song that's the biggest record in the world and, you know, have the most success at this point. You know, my job is to make music that challenges the culture, pushes the culture forward. The truth about talent is, first, that it's God-given. When you want to unleash that talent, your mind lets it go, you know, because it's there. You have to have the belief that when you draw from that well of talent, that it's going to be there. You have to have that belief that when you go into the basket, no one that's on that court can stop you. Some people were born and put here to do certain things.
I mean, seeing that you get into, like, you know, explaining about where your rhymes are coming from, now, like the evils, you know what I'm saying? You get into some mad, deep, you know, interpersonal relationship type of activity, you know what I'm saying? Were the people ready for that, do you think, on the real, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because, you know, I mean, a lot of people go through it, you know what I mean? That money divides us, you know, I mean, even your closest friend can become your enemy over that, on that eye on the dollar bill, you know, that evil, the evils, the devils, you know what I mean? So.
You know you become a star because you're the biggest target out there, right? When everyone's on the court, they're coming for you. When the opposing player walks into that arena, they're thinking about upstaging you. You're like a trophy to them. They're thinking, if I'm better than this guy, the spotlight turns on me. So you know you're a superstar because you're a marked man. Everyone's coming for you.
What is the relationship between money and happiness?
It's complex, right? And it's deceiving at times, you know, because people think the two equate.
Yes.
You know, to each other, and they don't, right? You
have a lot of money.
It's up, yeah.
And
I have a lot of happiness, but that doesn't mean that the two equate to each other.
Has your happiness risen at the same amount as your bank account?
No. That's the thing. They don't
equate, or they're not tied in any way.
They're not tied to each other.
Wow.
I mean, it allows you freedom and it allows you to go places where you can smile and look at the sunset and things like that. That's what you choose to do and you enjoy to do.
Right.
But there are a lot of people with tons of money who aren't happy because either they become a prisoner of their money, right, or they've become so consumed with getting money that they don't allow time for happiness.
Right.
Life is about balance, right? You have to have some type of balance. You have like time for work and it's time for play. And if you don't allow these two things to coexist, you have an imbalance of one or the other. But my mom is like the most loving, forgiving person, you know, and she kept at it. She set up the meeting again. This time he showed up. I got a chance to really tell him everything that was on my mind, how I felt, how, you know, him leaving made me feel. And, you know, we dealt with it. And from there, was able to free myself, really, and, you know, allowed me to express my feelings and let people close to me. And here we are.
Yeah. You said something on Oprah that made me call my father, who I hadn't spoken to since I was about 4 years old. I'm feeling emotional right now. And I called my dad that night.
Wow.
And God bless you, because you can't get anywhere without forgiveness. So your whole entire legacy my Jay-Z moment was that.
That gave me chills, actually. That made me feel great, because if you have a medium to speak and you reach someone through your story or the things that you've been through and your pain, that's when it's at its best.
Yeah.
So, I thank you.